So I got a couple of tips for you about how to save money on your home insurance, and then also a couple of places where it's not wise to make cuts because it's just going to cost you more in the long run. So let's start off first with a couple of tips that will help you out. The first tip, and this is really the biggest tip, is embrace a larger deductible. There's a lot of companies now that are offering higher deductibles, such as going to a wind and hail deductible of 2% or 5%. This is one of the places where you can save a lot of money on your insurance by kind of self-insuring that portion of a claim. Now keep in mind that if you have a claim, and inside of states like Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi, it's very common we're going to have some wind-related storms or also hailstorms. So you need to set that money aside, but just be aware, this is a place where you can save. Sometimes companies give you big discounts for going to a larger percentage deductible. If you're on an older homeowner policy that you've had for a long period of time and you've got a deductible like $500, and it's rare, but if you have one that's got $250 deductible, it's time to move those up. It doesn't make a lot of financial sense anymore to keep a deductible that is that small. At least move it to $1,000, but also maybe consider going to $2,500 or $5,000 or to a percentage deductible such as 2% or even 5%. Now, a lot of the policies will allow you to split those deductibles so that there's an all other perils deductible, which is like wind, which is fire, lightning, things like that, and that's going to be maybe $1 deductible sometimes. And then you have a second one that is wind and hail, or potentially it may be just hurricane or named storm. You can split those up so that you can try to potentially save a little bit of money. Here's a couple of things that you don't need to do to try to save money on your insurance. One of them is lower the amount of your coverage on your home. The reason that's a bad idea is because these are all replacement cost policies, meaning they're going to pay you based off of what it would cost to rebuild that home. And you may only owe a fraction of how much your insurance policy is covering your home for. But see, here's the deal. If you have a claim, you will be potentially penalized on the claim if you don't cover enough insurance. And what you could save, maybe a few $100s or even $1,000 a year, if you have a claim, could end up with a loss where you're short on your claim of, tens of thousands of dollars, if not $100,000 or more. So you don't want to do that. Another thing is you don't want to lower your liability limits. Going down on your liability limits is just not going to save you much money, maybe a few dollars per year. And then also you forego that protection that protects your assets. Remember, the liability part of it is what protects you if someone sues you. If you were to get sued, they're going to go after that liability limit. If there's enough there, they leave your other personal assets alone, like your income or your home itself or other properties you have. So those are some tips on how to save money, and then also where not to try to make cost saving decisions. So hope that helps you out. This is Beaux Pilgrim with Beaux Knows Insurance. Thanks for watching.